My best friend sent me a text last spring, begging me to loan her $5,000 for a medical emergency. Her words were frantic, full of tears I could almost hear through the screen. I wired the money within an hour, no questions asked. 2 weeks later, I saw her posting from a luxury spa in Napa Valley, sipping champagne. My name is Marcus Reed, 36 years old, a freelance graphic designer in Portland, Oregon. I've built a career turning chaos into art. Logos, book covers, album artwork. But that betrayal cracked open a truth I've been ignoring for years. My best friend, Alicia, wasn't just unreliable. She was a master manipulator, and I'd been her favorite mark. What I didn't know was that calling her out would expose a web of lies stretching back a decade, and I'd have to outsmart her to reclaim my life. Alicia and I met in 2009 at a community college art class. I was 21 shy, scraping by on freelance gigs and a part-time barista job. She was 23, bold, with a laugh that filled the room and a portfolio of half-finished paintings she called genius in progress. We bonded over late-night coffee runs, critiquing each other's work, dreaming of making it big. Alicia had a way of making you feel like you were the center of her world. Her blue eyes locked on yours, her voice warm with encouragement. She was my cheerleader, pushing me to pitch bigger clients, celebrate my first major contract. I thought we were family, the kind you choose. But there were always cracks. Alicia borrowed money often, $50 here, $200 there, always with a sob story, a broken car, a late rent payment. She'd pay me back, usually late, with lavish apologies and promises of dinner on her. She'd cancel plans last minute, blaming work or family drama, then post photos from parties I wasn't invited to. I brushed it off. Friendship isn't perfect, I told myself. She was there when my dad died in 2015, holding my hand at the funeral, so I forgave the small stuff. My life grew steadier over the years. I landed consistent clients, publishers, bands, small businesses, and bought a loft in Portland's Pearl District, a space filled with my sketches and vinyl records. I started dating Emma, a botanist with a quiet strength that grounded me. Alicia, meanwhile, bounced between jobs, gallery assistant, event planner, influencer, never sticking with anything long. She moved in with her boyfriend, Nate, a tech startup guy, in 2020, and her lifestyle seemed to level up. Designer bags, weekend getaways, a sleek new car. I was happy for her, even if I noticed she asked for favors less often, but expected more when she did. The $5,000 loan changed everything. I'd sent it from my savings, money I'd set aside for a new design tablet. When I saw her spa photos, tagged with hashtag self-care and a glass of View Clickwap, my stomach twisted. I texted her, "Hey, everything okay? Thought you had a medical emergency." Her reply was quick, breezy. "Oh, that sorted itself out. Thanks for being a lifesaver. Marcus, I'll pay you back next month, promise." I stared at the screen, my hands clenching. Next month? She was sipping champagne while I cut back on groceries to cover the loan. Emma, who'd always been wary of Alicia, saw my face. "What's wrong?" she asked, pausing her book. I showed her the post. "She lied to me," I said. Again, Emma's eyes softened, but her voice was firm. "Marcus, you've been enabling her for years. She doesn't respect you. She uses you." Her words hit hard. I'd always defended Alicia, chalking up her flaws to quirks. But this wasn't a quirk. This was betrayal. I didn't confront her yet. Instead, I started looking back, piecing together a puzzle I hadn't wanted to see. I dug through old texts, emails, even Venmo transactions. The pattern was glaring. Alicia had borrowed over $12,000 from me since 2012, repaying only about half, often with excuses or partial payments. She'd asked for favors, free designs for her business ventures, introductions to my clients, promising to return the favor, but never did. I found a 2018 email where she'd asked me to design a logo for a charity event, claiming it would boost my portfolio. The event never happened, but the logo appeared on a scam crowdfunding page that raised $8,000 before vanishing. I hadn't connected the dots then, Too trusting, too loyal. I confided in my friend Jamal, a fellow designer who'd met Alicia a few times. Over beers, I laid out what I'd found. She's a con artist, he said bluntly. Not the kind who robs banks, but the kind who robs trust. You're not her friend. You're her ATM. Why me? I asked, my voice tight. Because you're a good guy, he said. She knows you won't call her out. But you're not the only one. His words stuck with me. I started wondering who else Alicia had manipulated. I reached out to mutual friends, casually asking about her. The responses were telling. Sarah, a photographer, said Alicia had borrowed $3,000 for a work trip that turned out to be a vacation. Tom, a musician, said she'd promised to promote his band, but ghosted after he designed her website for free. Each story was a variation of mine. Charm, sob stories, broken promises. I needed more than anecdotes. Alicia's social media was a curated lie. Glamorous photos, vague captions about hustling, but her LinkedIn listed her as a brand consultant for a company called Elevate Ventures. A quick search showed Elevate was a shell, registered to Nate's cousin, with no real projects or clients. I remembered Alicia mentioning Nate's startup had investors, but she'd been vague about his work. I started digging into Nate too, and found his company, TechTrend Innovations, had a slick website but no actual products, just buzzword about disruptive AI. Reviews on Glassdoor called it a scam operation, with employees unpaid and clients ghosted. The pieces clicked. Alicia and Nate weren't just living beyond their means. They were funding their lifestyle through manipulation, maybe even fraud. I was one of their marks, but I wasn't alone. The question was, how do I stop her without losing the friendship I'd once valued? I decided to test her. I texted Alicia, saying I needed the $5,000 back urgently for a family emergency. Her reply was instant. Oh no, Marcus, I'm so sorry. I'm strapped right now, but I'll get it to you soon. What happened? I didn't answer. Instead, I watched her posts. 3 days later, she shared a photo from a rooftop bar, captioned, "Living my best life." No mention of being strapped. I saved the screenshot, adding it to my growing file. Texts, transaction records, emails, and now social media lies. Emma suggested I confront her, but I knew Alicia would twist it, cry, deflect, make me the bad guy. I needed undeniable proof, something she couldn't talk her way out of. I remembered the crowdfunding scam from 2018. I searched online archives and found the page, still cached, with my logo and Alicia's name listed as event coordinator. I also found complaints from donors who'd never received promised rewards. One, a woman named Linda, had posted her email exchange with Alicia, who'd blamed technical issues for the failed event. I contacted Linda through a forum, explaining I'd been involved unknowingly. She was wary but shared more. Alicia had pocketed $6,500, offering partial refunds only when threatened with legal action. Linda's evidence was a start, but I wanted to know if Alicia was still running scams. I created a fake Instagram profile, Lila Parker, aspiring entrepreneur, and followed her. I liked her posts, commented on her brand consultant content, and DM'd her about a collaboration. She bid immediately, suggesting a Zoom call to discuss mutual opportunities. On the call, her charm was in full force. She pitched me on investing $10,000 in Elevate Ventures, promising exclusive access to their VIP client network. The pitch was polished but vague, full of red flags, buzzwords, no specifics, urgent deadlines. I recorded the call, pretending to be interested, and asked for a contract. She sent one, signed by her and Nate, with terms so one-sided it was laughable. No refunds, no deliverables, just promises. I had her. The contract, the recorded pitch, the crowdfunding scam, the loan lies, it was a pattern of deceit. But I didn't want to just expose her to our friends. I wanted her to face real consequences, to stop her from hurting others. I contacted a lawyer, Rachel, who specialized in fraud cases. Over coffee, I showed her my evidence. This is strong, she said, scanning the contract. The crowdfunding scam alone could support a civil suit, maybe criminal charges if you get victims to come forward. The fake company pitch is wire fraud territory. What about the loans? I asked. She owes me thousands. Harder to prove without a written agreement. But your texts and Venmo records help. If we show a pattern, it strengthens the case. Rachel suggested I gather more victims. I reached out to Sarah and Tom again, asking if they'd join a formal complaint. Sarah agreed, sharing bank statements showing Alicia's unpaid loans. Tom was hesitant, but sent screenshots of their deal. Linda, the crowdfunding victim, was all in, providing her emails and a signed affidavit. I also found 2 more victims through social media. A caterer who'd worked Alicia's charity event for free and a graphic designer who'd lost $2,000 on a fake project. With 5 victims, Rachel drafted a complaint for the Oregon Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division, alleging fraud, deceptive practices, and unjust enrichment. I added my evidence: the Zoom recording, the Elevate contract, the crowdfunding page, and a detailed timeline of Alicia's loans and lies. Rachel also recommended tipping off the Better Business Bureau about TechTrend Innovations, suspecting Nate was complicit. Before filing, I gave Alicia one chance to come clean. I invited her to coffee, saying I wanted to clear the air. She showed up in a designer jacket, all smiles, acting like nothing was wrong. "Marcus, I've missed you," she said, hugging me. "I'm so sorry about the money. I'm getting it together, I swear." I cut her off. "Alicia, I know about the spa, the crowdfunding scam, Elevate Ventures. I know you've been lying to me for years." Her smile froze. "What are you talking about? I've never scammed anyone." "I have proof," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Emails, recordings, contracts. Other people you've conned are talking too. You can pay me back now, $7, $500, the full amount you owe, or I'm going public." Her eyes widened, then narrowed. "You're bluffing. You'd ruin our friendship over a few bucks? After everything we've been through?" "It's not about the money," I said. "It's about you using me, using everyone. I'm done." She laughed, but it was brittle. "Go ahead, Marcus. Tell people. They'll see you're just jealous, bitter because I'm living better than you." I stood up, leaving cash for the coffee. "You have 1 week." She didn't pay. Instead, she posted a cryptic Instagram story. "Some people will stab you in the back just to feel tall." I saved it, knowing it would only hurt her case. I filed a complaint with Rachel the next day, sending copies to the Attorney General and the BBB. I also warned our mutual friends, sharing just enough evidence to protect them without airing everything publicly. Sarah and Tom backed me up, cutting contact with Alicia. The response was faster than I expected. 2 weeks later, the Attorney General's office opened an investigation into Elevate Ventures and TechTrend Innovations. Rachel got a call from a detective who said they'd traced $45,000 in investments to Alicia and Nate's personal accounts. The BBB issued a warning about TechTrend, and clients started pulling out. Alicia's social media went quiet, her posts replaced with a single bio line: "Taking a break." Nate reached out to me, desperate. "Marcus, this is a misunderstanding," he said over the phone. "Alicia's not a criminal. Let's work this out. Name your price." "There's no price," I said. "You both made choices. Live with them." I hung up, my hands shaking but my resolve firm. Emma, who'd been my rock, hugged me that night. "You did the hard thing," she said. "Not everyone would." "It doesn't feel good," I admitted. "She was my friend." "She stopped being your friend a long time ago," Emma said softly. "You just gave her the chance to prove it." The investigation snowballed. By summer, Alicia and Nate faced charges: fraud, theft by deception, and operating an unregistered business. The crowdfunding victims, including Linda, filed a civil suit, using my evidence to seek restitution. Alicia tried to spin it, claiming she was a victim of circumstance, but the Zoom recording and contract were damning. Nate turned on her, taking a plea deal that implicated her further. She was convicted, sentenced to 2 years in prison, and ordered to pay $22,000 in restitution to victims, including me. I got my $7,500 back, but it wasn't about the money. It was about breaking free from her control, her charm, her lies. I'd spent years believing in a friendship that didn't exist, but in exposing her, I'd reclaimed my trust in myself. My loft felt quieter now, cleaner. I redesigned my portfolio, focusing on projects that sparked joy, album covers for local bands, book art for indie authors. Emma and I started planning a trip to Iceland, a dream we'd shelved to save money. Jamal, Sarah, and Tom became my new inner circle, friends who valued me for me, not what I could give. One evening, as I sketched a new logo, I got an email from Linda. "Marcus, I can't thank you enough," she wrote. "You gave me back my dignity. If you ever need anything, I'm here." I pinned the email to my corkboard, a reminder that standing up wasn't just for me. It was for everyone Alicia had hurt. Alicia's account stayed dark, her brand a ghost. I heard she'd moved to Seattle after her release, starting over with a new name. I didn't care. She was my past, not my future. And in the quiet moments when I looked at my life, Emma's smile, my art, my freedom, I knew I'd won. Not by becoming her, but by refusing to let her define me.